for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We got minutes from the last meeting.
Approve.
Second. I had one change on number 3. So it says the new maximum exemption recommended by the select board are allowable will be 500 for veterans and 4,000 for disabled. But they cannot be combined. We also can't increase it. We found out as well. So
Yeah, it's gonna have to go to
it
the,
has to go to warrant.
Has to go to warrant.
Yeah.
I think if you read further down, it does say that though, that it has to be a warrant article. Warrant article would be necessary, because I was questioning that too.
Okay. Just the way it was written. Okay.
Is it okay?
But we'd also said 2,200, not 4,000.
I don't know that we need an actual recommendation.
We had the meeting before that, but then we found
Yeah.
out last meeting.
I know last week we found out.
All right, all in favor? Aye. The public,
Move to approve.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
The agenda is Gene Mitchell. I assume that's you.
Yes, that is me.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you folks. My name is Jean Mitchell. I actually am a resident in the town of Grafton. Before I moved to New Hampshire, I was an academic teacher and a vocational teacher in Massachusetts for over 20 years. And when I moved up here, I became quickly aware of the school funding issue or lack of. And I recently got together with the superintendent along with some members of the school board and the rec coordinator in Enfield. And we're working together on a multi-pronged approach to kind of help alleviate some of that burden. And I know a lot of it was proposed way back in the beginning. I think it was back in like the late 80s, early 90s, but it just hadn't quite got there. So what I'm here for tonight is to see if the town of Canaan and their residents would vote to adopt an RSA. And what this is it's a property tax work-off program. People who are disabled, elderly, or veterans already can get a discount on their taxes, but they have to meet a certain in criteria for income. And there's a lot of people that fall in what we kind of call the crater, where they're not low income enough to qualify for a lot of things, but they're not making enough money to be able to pay for what they have. So down in Massachusetts, in one of the towns I lived in, and quite a few towns in New Hampshire, because they already have the RSA, what they allow people to do is if you bring proof that you're a senior citizen, a veteran, or disabled, irregardless of your income, you volunteer 33 hours of your time in exchange for a discount on your taxes. And where this discount comes from is all the regular taxes paid, like you would on any other tax bill. Where the person kind of gets the savings is on what the town keeps for the rainy day fund or the emergency fund, savings account, whatever you want to call it. I know a lot of towns, depending on, you're allowed to retain a certain percentage of property tax for your emergency fund or whatever the town calls it. Instead of retaining, say, 7% like you would for a regular person, you would only retain 2%. And that's where that discount would come from. So they would volunteer to work either at the school, if they passed all the Cory checks and stuff, they could volunteer, as support in the classrooms, because I know the more people kids can read to one-on-one, the better they read. And I know reading is something that the school's really been working hard to try and raise those scores up. And I know a lot of times in the winter too, a lot of folks hide. I'm guilty of it. The weather's terrible and we all kind of hide in it. And that makes a lot of isolation. So when you have somewhere to volunteer and you're getting that discount on your taxes, it's a benefit to the school cemetery if someone wanted to volunteer their 33 hours to help fix headstones or mow in the cemetery. The select board would decide what would, organizations they would allow the person to volunteer for, whether it be the school, cemetery, rec. It would be up to you folks. They would have a little time card. They have to have it signed off because it's a documented 33 hours. It would go through the public assistance person. That's who would handle the paperwork to verify that, yes, you are a veteran, you are disabled. You have your time card, you did all 33 hours. So there is accountability for the person when they, volunteer to do it. And the town has a documented time card of what they did and how much they put into the town in sweat equity. So basically, folks would volunteer to work 33 hours and put in the time now instead of putting as much into the rainy day or savings fund. And it's only that small population.
Yeah,
It's not for the general public. You still have to be either a veteran, disabled, or elderly. I know I'm in the process of getting the numbers for the Grafton Select Board. I spoke to them last month. I believe one town, the senior citizens saved almost $250,000 in 1 year by all the work they ended up putting in to the different town departments. And it's not you're not replacing staff, you're just getting extra help. It's
Correct.
not replacing any jobs or anything.
33 hours a week.
Well, it's 33 hours total, so. And it works out good for the snowbirds too, because you can kind of split it up. If you're not in town in the winter, then you can do it in the spring or the summer. So people do have some flexibility, and then it gives the town the chance to kind of spread the volunteers out all year long, which works out really well too.
and what's the feedback been from the superintendent of the schools?
They're really interested in it. Anytime they can, they know the taxpayers are really taking a hard hit. Anytime they can get more volunteers and staff, it's always better for the kids. The long range goal, what we're working towards is, back, I believe in the late 80s, early 90s, they used to have a nightlife program at Mascoma where you could use wood shop and things like that. It was not run by the district. It was run by a college, and the college rented the building. So the school really didn't get the maximum benefit of a nightlife program. So now what the school's looking into is having their own nightlife program that would be run by the school district. And that money would go into covering the cost of the electricity, the heat, the maintenance, and things like that, so that the burden doesn't fall so much on the taxpayer. Most of the trade schools do it. It's really commonplace. I always joke, every academic school needs a trade school teacher to survive. But my classroom was a business, and they can do the exact same thing with nightlife. And it's a great asset to the community because now folks have a lot of options. They can take classes, improve their job skills, and they don't have to travel. But that's the long-term goal that we're working towards, but we're hoping to get folks a little bit, people that are still on a fixed income, but it's not low enough, a little more help. And get the kids, some more reading buddies and a little more help in the classroom or even just around town with the cemeteries and the parks.
Mhm. Any question?
Oh, we're done. The only thing I'm seeing on this is a benefit given by the town. Correct?
Correct, yeah.
I would, if we're going to work with the school, then the school should reimburse the town because we're already paying the school for everything. And if the school is going to receive the benefit of these volunteers, we're paying for them too. I don't have a problem with the town covering the cost of volunteers within the town. But I think it's asking a lot of the town to start an additional cost to the school district, let them take it out of their extra money and make reimbursement so that we can give that benefit to the people.
But that's not actually what's going on. Like whoever volunteers for the program, they're volunteering to work instead of give you folks cash.
Correct. So somebody is paying that
Yeah,
dollar value. If you want to come work for me, I'll cover that dollar value. If you're going to go work for Steve, I'm not going to cover that value. Let him cover that value. That's what I'm saying. I don't have any problems whatsoever with this type of program, but I don't think the town should be covering the cost for the school district when they have their own monies in their budget and they have rainy day funds that could cover this and reimburse to the town through paperwork, whatever has to be done. I think the program is great to give somebody a chance to get some extra. But I don't think we should be funding somebody else's, another department, the school district's benefit.
I understand that. And I mean, that's only one of the options that
Yes.
people have, and not everything can be all things to all people. And I
Yeah.
totally understand what you're saying, because I know that everybody is feeling the squeeze from the taxes and with the school and stuff. And I mean, basically, right now, I understand what you're saying about if the school had the money to give people to do that, they would.
I think what Scott is saying is that it would be nice to see some quantitative benefit to the town for what the school is getting. Because we're taking the hit and our citizens are taking the hit on covering the people that are, and I agree, I think it's a great idea. I'm concerned about how the optics are and how the
Well,
mechanics of it all work, so.
I understand. And like I said, I mean, that's only one option for the program. You may not have anyone that even wants to do that. It's just something that would provide a little bit of extra help now. And the people are putting in the sweat equity instead of handing, whoever, whether it be the town, the school, the money, because it all ends up there one way or another, whether we like it or not, unfortunately. It's just kind of a bridge program, and it would really depend on how many people even want to volunteer at the school.
Yeah, and I have no problems with it as long as logistics of the program are worked out.
Mhm.
So that the town isn't footing the bill for somebody else receiving the benefits.
Yeah, no, the Canaan people would just volunteer at the Canaan Elementary School. They wouldn't go to the you know, like, they wouldn't have to go to
Yeah, it's the
Mascoma. or
Mascoma School
whatever.
District, so
Yeah.
I understand.
they don't separate it.
I have additional, I mean, in theory, I think it sounds good. My concern would be, we don't really have an undesignated fund balance. We are way underfunded and we continue to, receive criticism from the state on how low it is. So I don't know that we're even in the position to consider this right now.
And some towns can't.
I also, my concern would be volunteering around town, like what does that do for our insurance costs? Right, if someone gets hurt and they're working for us, and then I know it says no less than 33.3, is there a cap?
That would be determined by the select board. Most towns, I believe, I think it was Samberton, and I know there's 2 or 3 others. They all pretty much stay right around the 33 hours. They don't go
Thinking-
much higher than that.
Someone can, work half-time, they didn't have to work for us, right? They could work somewhere else and then have the funds to pay this.
Yeah, as it is, even for the people who are volunteering in the cemeteries with what's being done right now, they all have to sign a release with the town before they're allowed in.
Yeah.
I mean, can be done, it's just the idea that I would like to, as I said, I'd like to see the money come from the person, the group that's receiving the benefit.
Yeah, but I don't think right now we have that money.
We don't have a rainy day fund, we're in the fog still.
But I also.
Totally get that. Totally get that.
If we were to open it up to the population potentially that qualified for exemptions already, I think it would be more of an impact than just signing a waiver. And I think it would probably affect our liability insurance. I mean,
Potentially, especially with the age group.
yeah.
Potentially. I mean,
Easy.
I mean, I think it sounds
You're
great.
volunteer.
Yeah, well, I mean, and it would all depend on what, what you're gonna have. I mean, most of the time, it's kind of more like, classroom support, gardening, things like that, community cleanup, nothing crazy, no one's running snow blowers or anything.
Yeah. Earlier, people call when they do that. So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have something to say, Bob?
I was just gonna say that I kind of agree with the Mascoma school system thing in that if it was the school, the town like Lebanon had their own school, but because we share it with 5 towns, it would be hard to quantify that. But if, let's say the town handyman job doesn't pass, maybe something that you're gonna have to pay people to do and someone else can volunteer to do it instead, maybe that might work because there actually is a in and
If
out
they're
in the money.
qualified to do,
Yeah,
That 33 hours isn't per week.
no, that's total.
It's a
That's
year.
per
year.
year.
But I'm just
Per
saying,
year.
No, but if somebody came and did a project that took them 33 hours to do and you gave them a couple of, I don't know, whatever, some tax break, rather than paying a contractor, almost said if that were to not pass, something like that maybe where it's in and out, we're not paying somebody so we can discount somebody and we break even.
Yeah.
But the 5-town school, that's never gonna work.
Well, never say never, but it could be something the school board.
It'd be very difficult to work.
The school board could do it on their own
Yeah, but I mean,
and credit their.
they go,
yeah, the school itself could run that program.
if the school did, yeah, but I'm saying if
And
the
then
town of Canaan
last-
tried to do it and Grafton student, they help them. And then a Canaan town gave them a discount. There's no way to say that Canaan students benefited from that in a 5-town school.
It makes it difficult.
Very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, obviously like I said, I know it's a 5-town district, but they would only be volunteering at the Canaan Elementary, not the middle and high school.
Yeah, but
But
that's
I
still-
get that it's, and I mean, the other towns are also taking this into consideration. So some of their residents are interested in doing it as well. I mean, not every town's gonna be in a position to do it. I mean, the school district really couldn't do something like that because where it involves like property tax and stuff, like that's not anything we'd be able to have
But
any
they
authority
qualify
with.
as a reduction in AIDS or whatever else they got up and running, so. I mean, they could quantify it financially and reduce their They're billed to us.
Yeah, that's what the night school program is gonna hopefully do. That's the long range big thing.
Any other questions? All right, thanks, Gene, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I like the volunteerism part of it, more of it, so.
Yeah.
Great, Thibodeau, you're up.
Hey, I have to warn you all, I have a little bit of a head cold and I'm deafer than a doorknob anyways, so
Okay.
I won't be offended if you yell, so I hear you. You must be the man getting the number 5. So I won't go page to page. You have many things on your list to do, and from what I understand, you're gonna have to go and read it and think about it, talk about it some more. But in a nutshell, this began with our fire. And we were coming to the town saying, geez, you taxed us on buildings that aren't there anymore. We need to do something about this. Long story short, the new assessor came out and made an appointment wisely. We got together, walked through everything. And during that process, he said, well, you know, the first problem here is we were told it was a garage by the previous assessor. So I've come out before and I saw your garage is perfectly fine. Oh, well, it's not a garage. It's never been a garage. The fire marshals noted it. The police noted it. It's 2 barns that went away. You must have seen the pile of rubbish. Well, I wasn't the one. So that's the beginning of the error. So we got past that. They said, well, I'm here. We're doing a new assessment across the town. Let's go right through the whole place. Great. Come on. Grab a coffee. Let's do it. And as we're going through the building, he was noting that some of the measurements were a little erroneous. And some of the codes didn't make any sense at all. Those little alpha codes that don't make any sense to any normal human being anyways. So he was going through those and helping me understand how they arrive at those. And long story short, he said, geez, you know, something that really stands out is they had this as a 2 full-story house. You have cathedral ceilings. Yeah, it's been like that since it was built in 1981. So, well, you don't have that full amount of living space. There's an error, and it's been here. I said, well, we've been here 44 years, so it's been there for 44 years. He said, well, I'll go check, but looking at what you have right now for your what is it called, assessment card?
Mhm.
They said
Yes.
it doesn't make any allocation that you really don't have 2 full stories. Your square footage is off. So we did a quick measurement, came out to like 485 square feet that are vapor. It's cathedral ceilings. He said, well, you can be charged for that. So that's the beginning of the error. These pages are all the documentation that I could come up with. And I spoke to their acronym is BTLA, to learn as much as I could. Then I talked to the state financial people that do the monies, talked to them a bit, got the information from them. I have the RSAs that apply to this in here. We went through all the calculations, and I'm not going to sit here and try to do them with you. It's so insane. I mean, good Lord, the tax rates, the valuation changes. I really don't know how we'll ever come to an agreement of how much over all these years we've been paying for something that's vaporware. So that's going to have to be some other discussion. And I've got a financial background, so we've run all the numbers on Excel, and it's not an insignificant amount. But
So
the
when
information.
Brendan
packet is
came
here,
out, was it Brendan that came out?
I'm
Was
sorry.
it Brendan that came out, the assessor?
Was it Brendan that came out?
I'm sorry.
The assessor's name was it Brendan?
Yes, yeah,
What
sorry.
was his response when he came up with this? What?
He was one that said, you don't have this square footage. And it looks like it's about this much. So it started with him he pointed out some other things. We've been charged for a full finished basement for all these years. And it doesn't exist. We're on a slab, we're in a crawl space. I said, that's wrong. You've been charged for that too. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here primarily for the square footage that's vaporware. that is a significant amount of money when you put it all together. What I did just to come up with some quick calculations is I took that, and the town has reasonable records of what was going on all those years. And they gave me a printout of that. And I separated out the actual physical house itself and assigned a percentage to that. It's gone, the 485. And obviously, what the house was in 1982 is not what the house is today. So it basically came down to periods of 5 years before we did an addition, change square footage. So I took those chunks and said, apply the percentage to the house value, which according to the state, the number one thing that drives house value is square footage. So we've got a good foundation to, no pun intended, to look at that as a reason to look at the cost. And the 5-year periods. And then, of course, it has interest on it, which really is insulting, but it's there. I don't know how I can answer any questions. There's so much to this.
Yeah.
44 years is a lot to cram down to a few pieces of paper.
Okay.
Is your tax card here? I don't see that anywhere in here.
I don't know what you have. Oh, in this? No. I have that as supplemental over here, along with quite a few other ones,
Mhm.
but I didn't know how deep with everything you've got on your agenda, how deep you want to dive into this.
Yeah, no,
I can get right down to brass tacks with you on things, so.
My opinion would be that you would come to us with the information and then a request for the abatement.
I'm sorry.
My opinion, I can't speak for these two, would be that you would come to us with this information and then a request for the abatement,
like a dollar
a
amount.
dollar amount. I mean,
Yeah. I certainly can. I felt like I wanted to present to you first that there's a very real rationale and serious error that's occurred over these years before I came in with some number that, I mean, honestly, when I did the number, oh my God, this can't be. So I didn't want to do that. That's like, yeah, thanks for coming by. But I want to see if a great deal more research from the town. I mean, some of the old tax records, those drawings they had don't exist. There's notes. From what files you pulled out.
When the property has been assessed over the 44 years, it's been assessed multiple times.
Yes, oh yeah.
Have you ever questioned any of this assessment?
You know what? Stupidly, no.
Because there is, every time there's an assessment, there is review and question
Yep,
periods that are set up.
yep. Well, I'll tell you, I led a fairly busy life. I was gone 3 months out of the year in Europe working. So this was one of those things when I looked at the town in my mind and said, it's the town. They know what they're doing. It is what it is. Pay it. So it's my own stupidity, not taking the time to carefully look at things. And frankly, the codes, they're erroneous as hell. I'm sorry. You can sit there and I think I'm capable enough to understand a few things. No. And the second part of that, which I don't intend to get into, but it's also up to the assessor to decide what something's going to be called. And it swings all over the place. This new guy is great. I really like him quite a bit. He did a great job explaining things. But here's another example. We have a sugaring operation and there's a shed next to it. The shed is 12 feet deep and 10 feet wide. He writes it down as a shed. It's built exactly like the shed that's attached to the new barn that we built. It's the exact same dimensions. He called that one a carport. Guess what? When you look at what your tax rate discount is, it's horses of different color.
Yes.
And it's erroneous.
Well, the reason I ask, the one thing that does not change is the square footage.
Correct.
So that is not left for interpretation by it. That's an exact measurement.
Yes.
And that's why I ask if you had, had questioned the assessment on it, because I've been through this with my own, that they had square footages wrong.
The only time we did is when we did this last large addition to the home. And the reason that I did was because the drawings were so wrong. I was like, we gave them the building plans for God's sakes. And he came out and walked through it with me, but the drawing was, it was somebody else's house. So that one I did question, and they did come back actually several times. And those are noteworthy that they finally came closer, but it was never quite right. But that's the only time I questioned it. Just write the bloody check and look the other way and back to work, gotta pay.
So when you initially built the home, did the assessor come in and have an appointment and walk through?
Well,
Do you, I mean, who remembers 40 years ago, but
well, I certainly don't. I don't remember whatever my glasses are most days anymore. The answer is we didn't build the original home we bought. It was built 3 years prior to our purchase. So what was done, I don't know. When we purchased it, we were 40 years younger and dumber. You know, property tax was just, oh my God, we got to pay something for this. So we never paid any attention to that, but within 5 years, we did an addition. As the family grew, we needed space. Then I can tell you, not only did the assessor come out, but the builder also, Sandy Milne, came to the town, did the permits, everything was way above board. So there was no, well, let's see how long we can get away with this. So it was all up front. The person came, can't remember the name, sorry.
no, that's, okay.
And the same thing happened again about another 5 years later when we added on to the other section of the house. Plans were submitted, architectural plans, every possible detail from electrical on down was submitted to the city to permits. And the individual came out afterwards and during to check things. So again, many opportunities for people to see what was there versus what was assumed to be there. And come on, I'm not a builder, so I don't think in these terms. Oh, by the way, we've got a cathedral ceiling. Did you look at that? No.
Where that center part of the house where the cathedral floor ceiling is, that was not affected on the additions?
No,
Okay,
not at
so
all.
they wouldn't have been
No,
looked at, it would have been looked at,
It's
looked at.
been unsure since the foundations were put in. But I think this gives you a basis to at least understand our perspective and some of the facts of it. And from there, I'm putty in your hands. Tell me what we have to do and I'll be happy to do the digging and come back to you folks with
Well,
something.
yeah, I think to Sadie's point, this is great, give us a chance to review and go through and see what the whole problem is, from your standpoint. But you really should come to us with, what you think it's worth and, a dollar number and say, this is.
Well,
what
I think with you folks having this in front of you and
Yeah,
sometimes.
I respect the fact that you didn't come in and drop a $500,000 bill on our desk. So,
I know
start
how I
with your
react
off on
with
that.
that. I would like to leave you with a couple of other supplementals to that. What we just talked about is the primary, but he also uncovered some other inconsistencies that do have effect on the value that we're being taxed on. The unfinished basement versus the finished, the slab, so on and so on and so on. But some of the buildings, even the new individual, and I was poking a little bit of fun about the inconsistency of the terminology. A carport is for cars. It's not a bloody stinking shed. And when I've got two pieces on the same property and one's called this and the other's called that, I'd like to understand why. So I apologize. I'll let you pass around so I don't do it, but there's enough copies for everybody there. I won't sneeze on you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yeah. Any questions?
No, I mean, I think basically, because the way that, just from a process perspective, that when he makes the request, if then the select board has to do its due diligence, answer the question. Oh, I'm sorry. And from a process perspective, the town, you have to make the request of what you're looking for, what the correction needs to be.
Yes.
Then the town responds and they either agree, disagree, or something in the middle.
Yep.
And then you have the option to appeal, which is the concern that Scott was bringing up is every year you can appeal your taxes and every 5 years is a reappraisal and we can do that. So these are all things that we'll have to evaluate.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there is limitations as to how like, if you don't appeal, you can't do anything till the next year until you appeal, you know what I mean? Like, there's things like that.
That was an interesting one in talking to, the executive director at this DTLA.
Yeah.
And she's not of that opinion. In a situation like this, where it's going back so far back, a current year, yes.
So
Or
it-
more current year,
Right.
but you said you're off the chart. So you need to first go talk to the select board and get some reading of what they expect of you to do, and then take your next step, and we're here in case you need help.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I left it with them.
Yeah.
I don't want to turn it into a great, long thing if we can avoid it. I think that the error is very clear, and the town's done a great job in a way of documenting it. So the rest of it, that can be another time, but that's a significant part that should be corrected no matter what.
Okay.
And by the way, this fellow Brandon has now changed it. So your new tax card shows it correctly. The measurements are still not quite right, but they're close enough. I'm not gonna bother with it. But the old stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you, Frank. Elderly and veteran exemption limit for the warrant article.
Yeah, basically, the select board, when I created the elderly and exemption language, and you do have options as to years and things like that. We have to determine what the values that you want in there. Right now, it's, I have it here somewhere, what is this? It's 26,000 in income versus, and I think 36 married or 42. And then there's the $70,000 in assets that you could have. And the question is, does the select board want to raise that and put that in a warrant article to adjust before the voters?
So I thought,
Currently, it's income limits is 26,000 single, 42,000 married, asset limit $70,000. That asset does not include the primary home plus the first 2 acres.
I guess I'm a little confused. I thought if it was gonna go to a warrant article, we're gonna let it go to a petition warrant article.
But we have to pick an amount.
So for it to be actually,
Or to be on the
Added.
warrant article says, here's what here's what you want to change it to. Okay, and the same thing will be with the veterans. We'll have that conversation in a second. Like, what we proposed the last time, I think, was 402,000. You want that to be in the warrant article, or would you rather go to the maximum and put it on the warrant
So it's
article?
not a petition warrant article, it's a warrant article that we're creating, so we have to
Yes.
make our recommendation for the warrant.
Right.
Can I ask a question? Are you gonna do disabled too? Or-
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what the higher number is for the veterans. There's
I mean, disabled, people that are disabled but are not veterans.
I believe it's, what is it? We have currently have the elderly exemption. And we do not, I don't think we differentiate first.
An exemption.
I know you don't.
But the town raised the asset limit, not the asset limit, the exemption amount. It was like 85,000 and they raised it to 100. You know, the part of your property that's exempt.
Well, I'm not aware of anything being 100.
Are you gonna change those limits?
That's what's before the select board to see if they want to change those limits.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to figure out, is that gonna apply to only veterans and only elderly? Does that apply to people that are disabled and not in either of the other 2 categories? Because you don't have to be elderly or a veteran to get.
The elderly tax exemption worksheet includes requalifications may be used for blind, deaf, and disabled exemptions within the 3-year New Hampshire residency requirement. So it's disabled and elderly.
So the state recently increased or changed the amount for.
For
the
veterans.
exempt- I think that's what Ally's asking.
Well, that's,
And then-
veterans is a credit, it's not an exemption.
Right.
That's different, because you just take it off the total tax.
Right.
You don't exempt any of the property, you just take it off the total tax.
Right. This is,
But the reason I asked is it's sort of a donut hole in there. Because now I'm elderly, so do people that, once they go from disabled to elderly, do they lose that exemption?
No, it's the same exemption.
Because once you're in, you stay there.
Yes. Well, not just that, it's just, it applies to both elderly and disabled.
Oh, okay, all right. I couldn't find it in the town report, but
Okay.
I could find it anywhere else. Okay.
So the current income limit is 26,000 for single, 42,000 for married, $70,000 asset limit, like I said, not including their primary residence plus 2 acres. And in a couple of instances, you know, having a car or things like that is pushing people out when they're just barely getting over.
Yep.
And there's been requests to increase this to some degree. You know, basically, it's, you know, what is the opinion of the board to say, are we looking to up it to $100,000 asset limit or something like $32,000 and $48,000 in income, 30 for single, 48, you know, like not a huge amount, but this hasn't been adjusted for quite some time, so you know, it's just a matter of what would the select see in a warrant, if they even want to put the warrant forth.
So can you just clarify? I'm sorry. We're recommending creation of a warrant article to change veterans, one to change elderly and one to change disabled, or,
Elderly and disabled are the same, and there's 2 for veterans. There's the disabled part of the veterans and the single.
okay, thank you.
So, and basically the way those
So it'll be 3 more.
official language is, yes. The language from DRA was, shall the town modify provisions of RSA 7239 for elderly exemption for property tax in a town located based on assessed value. Now, the way they have it is optional, is they have it like you can do from 65 to 75 and 75 to 80 and over 80, you could have different increments. We have not had that in the past. Okay, to qualify, a person must be a New Hampshire resident for 3 consecutive years, own real estate individually or jointly, or if the real estate is owned by such person's spouse, they must have been married for at least 5 consecutive years. In addition, the taxpayer must have a net income not more than, and this is these numbers. So, you know,
Do I have this somewhere? I feel like I just read this tonight somewhere.
and this is the actual application form that covers all of that.
Okay, so our current for elderly disabled income levels are 30,
$26,000 for a single, 42,000 for married,
and then how much in assets? 70?
70,000 for both. Is the way it's listed currently.
Do we have an idea of how many people are taking advantage of that?
In the town report. On the MS1, right?
They did have that. Trying to think where it got to, because that was a,
Probably where you last put it.
yeah, probably. All right, here's my little. All right, it appears that if you take, well, they need to subtract these out. So there's, in the elderly exemption list, and then physical handicap, there's 36, there's 45 people on the elderly. And there are 150 vets. And the veterans exemption currently totals, and that's with the 1,400 totals $54,000 in credits.
And currently that credit is,
That's the 1,400 and a 200. Up until this year, you could combine them and get the 1,600 if you qualified for
But now you
both.
can't.
and now the max is,
Now.
The max is actually allowed to go up to 5,000. 500 and 5,000.
It's 4,000.
No, it's actually 5. I think we gotta put it on the figure. 4,000, I think, is the standard, but you can go special to go to 5,000. It says House Bill 99, remove the ability to combine credits, but increase the optional limit from 4,000 to 5,000. As a board, you have the choice now to leave the credit as previously noted in the amount of 1,400, or bring an article forward that will amount from anywhere from $701 to 5,000. Decision is yours to make, and that's for the disabled. And the other one is you can. Yeah, no, that's the 700, I think, is the other item, the 500, I mean, for the regular veteran.
Because that went from 2 to 5.
So that's what that is. So it's just, what do we want to put on a ballot article, and do we have a ballot article forward?
Increasing on for veterans.
Yeah, I don't either. Well, I proposed 2 meetings ago that I should go to 2,400,
400.
double what we're at, or
If you wanna-
2,800 and 400.
Well, the double would be 400 and 2,800.
I'll stay with that proposal, I don't know.
So, so warrant article, does that go on there and say what it is gonna cost other taxpayers who are gonna have to pay for that offset?
Not necessarily, no, I don't think it can, because we won't know how many people applied for it.
Like, it's not a real number.
Right,
We're just asking if they want to change the tax credit.
Well, I know, but when those taxes aren't paid, someone else has to pay them.
correct.
Yes.
But it only matters of who can sign up for it. We don't know that number yet.
Well, I have the figures for last year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Check
check,
got him. Thank you, Ellie.
If you started there, then you at least get a ballpark.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Well, if you doubled it, your credits would go to 100,000.
You gotta pick up 46,000 somewhere. I think you said it was 54 or something like that.
It's 54, yeah, so it's
Yeah,
right
But
around.
it's one or the other now. So some people are taking both now, can't. They're gonna pick one or the other.
So some of them are actually gonna drop. Depending on their status.
But if you go to 2,000, that's like it'd be more like $25,000 increase. 2,800 was doubling. This is less than that.
Well, I don't think anyone's actually gonna decrease, right, because they would have had to have been a veteran and disabled to get 1,600.
Correct.
Yeah, but we don't know.
Disabled veteran. So,
The proposed 2,800.
yeah. Oh, sorry, 2,800, yeah.
Even the 2,000 is more than 1,600. No one's going down.
28,400,
That's what I proposed. but-
okay. You guys, I mean, we don't need necessarily a vote on it, I'm just gonna put it in the warrant article, we're gonna vote
Oh,
on
no,
it.
because the deliberative can actually change that. if
Again, yeah,
somebody
so this is
wants it.
just to put it on the warrant article, so just consensus. And then the same thing with the actual elderly and disabled deduction.
I'm not for changing that at all, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which the elderly right now.
26,042 for income, 70,000 in assets.
And then they can get how much off of their. They get it, it's a different payment for them, they get it actually off their assessed value of the property.
Right.
Correct.
$70,000 comes off the assessed value.
70,000, so 100,000 would come off. You went to 100.
So the total amount of allowable assets is the same as the reduction.
Well, I mean, not necessarily, it's not direct correlation.
But I mean, it's the same number. It's 70, you can have total of 70 in assets, not including your residence in 2 acres. And then
Okay,
we would.
elderly 65, okay, here's how we're set up currently.
Okay.
Elderly 65 to 74 is $65,000 off. From elderly 75 to 79 is $75,000 off. And 80 plus is $100,000 off. And there's 18 of those. So that's the reduction in valuation. So you're talking about at $100,000, that's what, we're 31, so. Right about, no, I was just going, no, I was trying to say what's coming off of the taxes.
I have another question. Are we doing a full revaluation
first.
coming year?
Yes,
we are.
Because these people are there, supposed, I would think, just based on what I've seen in the real estate market, is their assessed values is gonna go up too. So they're still gonna have to pay, you know what I'm saying, is $100,000 off an assessment this year isn't gonna be worth the same next year, because they're gonna be paying more overall anyway. Right?
Potentially, but the tax rate, the
Yeah.
mill rate's gonna drop, so.
Yeah, it depends.
The bill itself will be should stay the same if you've made no changes other than the state portion.
Right. Yeah, I guess if it's proportionally the same, so all I'm saying is their exemption might not be worth the same, even though they're the same amount.
so the elderly, like a $100,000 reduction is about a $3,100 off their taxes.
And the tax
What it
rate will
amounts
go up
to.
anyway.
So for the veterans exemption or credit, I'm guessing we require verification.
Yes.
What do we require for elderly and disabled? Like, how do we,
Everything on
how
this
do we
form.
verify assets?
They have to provide, there's an income list and they have to provide their social security, pension, retirement wages, rental income and things like that that they're collecting or and they have to show proof of that. They have to do their assets and their checking accounts. Any vehicles have to be listed with all their information and the property type and real estate that they have, and then the assessor goes through and verifies.
And how do they verify?
Well, they can, I mean, and the assessing clerk, they're given the information, like you gotta get a DD 214 to show you're a veteran, like you have to get all the documentation, you have to get the bank records, you have to get
And I
everything.
don't expect that people are falsifying records, but what is to stop someone from reading something off on an asset? You're not going to be able to verify because you're not looking for it. It's not listed.
And I mean, I'm sure it's not a
Is that an
foolproof set
accurate
of.
statement
I
though?
mean, it's a
That's what I'm
reasonable
asking.
statement, yes. I
Okay.
mean, we're not doing a full financial background check on people.
A year for two people is very small. Um,
Well, if they're both getting 2,000 a month from social security, that's 48,000.
yeah, and to buy food and heat and.
No, I'm just saying that,
Yeah,
that's somebody living just on social security right there. 42,000.
and there's a lot of people that do.
Yeah.
Less than that, some.
What are your thoughts, Scott? Stephen already stated his opinion.
Your income, as he just stated, your income pretty much falls in line with all your social security. Assets, $70,000, in my opinion, is on the low side when you look at values.
Well, the asset is not including your residence,
Correct.
so.
Putting the tax off, like what, $50,000?
I mean, it seems low to me. It's not out of line. What we're doing now is not out of line with the towns around us, but I don't think any adjustments have happened. And I think looking at where our town is going and the people who, you know, through no fault of their own, the town has kept a budget flat for so long that it actually put us so far behind. Now we're seeing significant increases, plus the inflation thing that happened over the past 4 years is kind of concerning. So it seems that it probably should have something happen. Doesn't have to be this year, but we're at a place where I think it was like 5-6 years ago at least when this numbers were put in before all of the inflation factors and then you heard about the reappraisal. So it's just.
Just my concern is the ability for the rest of the tax base to absorb
Oh,
it.
I
you
agree,
know,
and it's a catch-22, it always is, it's just a matter of.
Then maybe we should leave that one alone this year and maybe revisit. See how we go with our reassessment.
When is the last time that income was adjusted? Do we know? It's been a while. I mean, I remember voting on it twice in my time at the town, so.
And yeah, for what I can tell, it hasn't been in the last 5-6 years. But
Not that Thing's been more than that.
And that's my only reason for this conversation. It's just, you know, it's. And talking to Monica and the things that are happening on that side, so, you know, we do try to kind of make sure that we're balancing the whole thing for all the taxpayers. Making sure we're be able to function as a town, eventually have some money in the bank, hopefully.
I know, and
So
it's
you have a
like
suggestion?
statistically, big picture is it's less expensive typically for someone to age in place, right?
Yeah.
But that cost isn't necessarily absorbed directly by other people in town if they're not. I mean, I'm gonna propose that, yes, that we change the income thresholds. Monica, you can probably answer this question. For people, for clients that you're working with, what are you seeing for monthly income from either disability or social security? From those individuals that are seeking?
The average I'm seeing is about 1,200.
Oh. Okay. I'm gonna see how my fellow board members feel about if we were to increase it to like 32 and 48.
And go back, what is it now?
It's
2642.
Yeah, so it would be a $6,000 increase. It's,
I'm okay.
if we haven't looked at it in how many years, I mean, that's $500 more a month in income.
Yeah.
We have a question from the public.
So, like I was talking, there's COLA increases in social security and things like that, so increasing that makes sense. And then if you wanna split the difference, don't change the assets, cause you can always liquidate assets. But you can't, I don't wanna take my social security because it makes me make money and I can't get my exemption now, but are you asking for a question?
I just got my social security statement
Yes.
and mine went up for the year, something like $12, and Colleen's went down something like $40 per month.
Okay.
So
Your
you
prescriptions
qualify
went
now?
up.
And then Medicare went up.
No, I'm just saying, and
Medicare
that's,
was 24.
it's, well, a lot is because
Sums ended up going up.
when I went on social security, a supplemental insurance that I was paying $9 a month for is now $90 a month.
If we're not counting primary residence and the 2 acres, it's reasonable to think someone can have a car and a small savings and still be under 70.
But if you have 100 acres of land,
Correct.
you need to sell some land.
See, the one thing that the way ours reads, we have the same 70,000, whether it's single or a couple. And that, you know, maybe the 70 is fine for a single. Is it different for a couple? I guess that would be my question, because it's like, okay, if you had 2 cars and a little savings account, are you gonna be outside the 70?
Wait a minute, they're 80 years old.
Well, it starts like this, it starts at 65.
We're also not discriminating based on age. There are other costs with having a second vehicle, additional insurance, repairs, tires, I mean, things like that, so
But their kids are paying for the maintenance on that vehicle, not them.
that's nice of the kid.
Not in my house.
My thought is to increase the income to 3248. And that's my only recommendation at this time.
I would agree with that.
And leave the assets at 70. Okay. So that's what it will be when we visit it next.
Draft warrant articles.
Yep, we just had the attorney do the review of the language. The numbers will be going in tomorrow. I just got this yesterday. But basically, the general fund appropriation, we have a lot less warrant articles this year. Everybody will be happy to know. Appropriate the water and sewer, appropriate the highway capital reserve. Then there's the road reconstruction fund, transfer station fund, government buildings. and EMS. The one item we're doing, it's a, I don't know if I will use the word corrective or a remodel. We will be requesting to discontinue the existing fire truck capital fund. And then recreating it, because it's not gonna be just for trucks, it's going to be for all capital equipment that the fire department owns because of the expense and things like that. We're trying to get that spread out over time in the capital reserve fund, and it's in the CIP program that way. So it's just, that's a housekeeping issue. Then there's the police capital fund, bridge capital fund, and there's just and then the elderly and veterans exemption language related to making these changes in the limitations. And that's all we have on this at this time. But
I'm just reading this and I understand that these are just like prior years, but there's a minimum income for their elderly and disabled exemption?
no, this was just this was from the DRA.
Okay, because it says.
So,
what that-
yeah,
so that's not
this is
required
what they
language.
recommended. No,
Okay.
we will take that away.
Oh, thank you.
No, that was just this was form language that we put in there. So we will adjust it to make these all work. So that is all I have for warrant articles. We understand there might be a couple of petitioned articles coming, and then we are
5 or 6.
maybe,
Are you putting in tax impact on this as well?
yes.
The line for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we will have all of that in there. So that's where we are with those. We got the language done. Now we'll throw the numbers in it and it'll be ready for the budget committee next Tuesday.
Carrie Ann, you're up. You've been so quiet.
We just wanted to give the select board a summary of the 2026 proposed budget. Maybe seen it already, but I gave you all a printout of the expenditure budget as well as the revenue budget. And then I gave you a summary page that puts everything side by side for 2026 and 2025. The highlights are the 2026 operating budget increase is $14,557 or 3.5% for the operating budget side. The increase on warrant article requests is $329,577, which will bring the CIP funding close to where it should be. If all the warrant articles pass, the expenditure budget is increasing 8%. And then after this year, 2026, revenue will be corrected from the prior year's uncollectible revenue estimates. So we're hoping that going forward, the future budget processes should be limited to just inflation adjustments with minimal unforeseen expenses.
I'm glad you said minimal.
And just, we just wanted to make a note that now that we've got our staffing back to what it used to be about a decade ago, we don't see any additions to staff, like that should be fairly stable going forward.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. When do you need, reports for select board and,
Well, technically, we should have them. Like,
is it what I'm doing? Is it what I'm doing?
she's,
Is that what you're saying?
she's saying the 9th, which is Friday.
Oh,
So it's
how about
next.
Monday?
Deal.
All right.
You can do it
this year.
You can do it this weekend if
I
the
just
weekend
watched you
starts
today.
tomorrow.
Assessing clerk, town administrative job description.
Basically, the job description that existed when we advertised, a month ago, was prepared by a former assessing clerk that had many more responsibilities than were in here, and we said, well, we'll use this, we think it's a good template. But it had probably more than it needed to have in there that they wouldn't necessarily have to do.
Yeah.
We kind of scared a couple of people away, so we wanted to update it. It's been cleaned up. Carrie did a great job, trying to pare it down to what our actual needs were. And we just wanted to let you know that this is the change we've made, and we are going to probably start advertising this again in another week or so, because we figured, well, with the Christmas holiday, we weren't seeing a lot of activity, so.
You scared a couple away with the first time?
Well, no, they actually applied, they were interested, but they were nervous. They all said, I'm very concerned with all of this.
Well, is this something that somebody should get a hold of? and
Yes.
say we revised it?
Yes,
Chet, can we just make it gender neutral under number 7, 17, and 21?
What is that? Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Now
This
you
is
can write,
written in
now you
state.
can write the report.
This is written according to state accepted terms.
we can make that adjustment. So that's where we are with that.
And town administrator.
Town administrator,
And for the report, we still need the final dedications.
Yeah, I know. I got it.
so just a reminder for everybody, January 20th, that's 2 weeks from today, is the Transfer Station Road Bridge public meeting just prior to the select board, just to go over what the possible alignments are and things of that nature and where we are with the design. Second, Potato Road Bridge. We've had the engineer evaluate the bridge structure to see if there was any repairs we could do short term. And turns out the answer is no. They said that they also looked at the Enfield temporary bridge that they have. It's the right length, but because of the way it's set up, we would have to put in new abutments, a new abutment foundation as a temporary measure, which will also require a wetlands permit. So they're trying to evaluate if there's any shortcut on the wetlands permit for an emergency situation. They're also looking at any other alternatives, and then hopefully, I guess, and then maybe by the next meeting, we'll have an answer to say, do we want to do this, or is it just gonna stay closed till it's rebuilt? We'll have to make that call shortly, once we know all the details. So that's where that is.
Is there any fast tracking? We're on a schedule and it's laid out nice and neat, but is there any way to fast track?
Well, that's what the state has asked, and that's what they're looking into, the engineers
I
looking
was gonna
into.
say, because originally it was construction's supposed to start this coming.
At the end of this year and then finish the following year, but we're trying to see if we can push that up at all. Transfer station tractor. I don't know, was it a couple weeks ago? We had somebody driving the truck, pulling the trailer from the transfer station, discovered some issues related to the fifth wheel connection, and it was bad enough, we were gonna have to replace the entire fifth wheel. Subsequently, we got the parts and they removed the fifth wheel to put the new one on and discovered that the frame was broken pretty much clean through in a couple of those areas underneath of that. So the frame it's not an operational truck unless we either completely cut off the frame behind the car and rebuild it or replace the truck. We are currently looking at both options. Rough numbers I'm hearing are 28,000 for rebuilding it. We may be able to find a truck for less than that. And then the other piece is I have emails and everything else into Casella looking for what our options are. We had somebody who's made a couple of runs for us, but they can't do it long-term. We have to find somebody we got to figure out a way to get our short-term truck move right now.
Who did temporary runs for us?
Fred Hammond.
Okay, because we used to contract out to Art Conkey too.
Art has not,
I mean, we can do something, Fred has.
This
he has
is all
no
happening
ability to
last
do
day.
it. Well, he's got jobs going, he
Yeah,
just can't
yeah, that makes
commit
sense.
to it.
we might want to talk to Art. His tractor has sat for the last year, but we might even be able to lease his tractor.
Mhm.
He stopped doing it because of the way he was treated when a hydraulic line blew on the trailer.
Former town administrator, yeah, that was.
And they
Right.
failed to reimburse him for the oil that was lost.
I was former highway road agent too.
Yes,
We
but-
are much improved now, all around, so.
but it would be, I think it would be worth
having a conversation.
having that conversation, cause the tractor is out at the pit. And we know it will run it.
And he's Canaan resident now.
I live
That's
on
nice,
King
yeah.
Street,
On, we can give him a tax.
on your end, the poverty end.
If he volunteers for 33 hours.
He's in an apartment there.
Okay,
So the cost to rebuild was how much? 28 plus all the labor.
That was starting at 28.
so if we decide not to do that, do we have to pay for the parts that we already ordered?
We do, well, I'm sure we can return them.
The fifth wheel can be returned. Yeah.
Cause that was what, 13 grand we paid out for the parts?
What's that?
No, it was 34, wasn't it?
3,400.
Just 3,400.
Fifth wheel, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be a restocking fee, but we should be able to recoup much of it.
And then, yeah, but what's the estimate of number of hours? A lot,
A month.
right?
Yeah, I was looking
It's
at
not a 5.
minimum of 30 days it being down
Okay,
and
so we add that to the
That's it.
28.
Right.
Donovan could get it in to do it. And that was only calling one place, so we're kind of trying to get you guys as much information for tonight.
Yeah,
as we
cause this
can.
all happened yesterday, so.
And I'm also not loving the idea of just buying another truck that is less than 28,000, that's gonna break all the time. And it doesn't solve any of our overall issues with the
That's why I
transportation.
sent to Casella and
Yeah.
looking at other options. So we're trying to figure out what we could do in the short term,
Okay,
right? One piece of good news, very small good news, but if you remember in June, when we had changed, health insurance companies, we were getting that bill in July and August for $23,000 or so that we had to pay interlocal trust for that. Well, we actually just got a reimbursement of $14,000 in the mail today. So Carrie Ann's very happy. She danced all the way to the bank.
We will deposit.
That's Christina, she did deposit.
So,
that's exciting. We'll take any little bit of good news.
so that was helpful.
And Bob, that money's not for you.
Down payment on a trash truck.
So, and then the other piece of information is, on the fire chief. The body, the fire department last night voted to have Chris be the chief, because until March comes and the vote's a year old, he's not technically just town alone.
Right.
That's when we'll be transitioning the department. And in conversations with MRI, we're paying them right now for Chief Olson's time. And we looked at, well, what is the time frame we're looking at for this? And the chief has said, when he worked here until April last year, he wanted to there were some things he had that were unfinished that he wanted to do. And we're looking at moving towards just letting him be a town employee versus paying the amount significantly more. So what we're recommending is that the town buys out the MRI contract and Chris will become actually an employee of the town. And we're talking up to a couple of years, he'll be the permanent fire chief till we get everything laid out and organized and have a plan. And I think it's, with his knowledge and expertise and what he was able to do in such a short period of time last year, I think the town that would be a great transition, to go in that direction.
Will the
So-
14,000 cover the?
Yes, it more than covers the buyout.
Easy out.
So, yeah, we just wanted authorization to make that move. And then, Chief, did you have anything else you wanted to add? I
Congratulations
know,
for being voted in.
I was hoping to get out without you having to talk at all, because we don't have that kind of time.
Well, we got about 5 hours, right?
Not if you want to stay here.
Thank you very much. It was a wonderful meeting yesterday with the membership. You do have a great fire department here and EMS squad here. It's just been wonderful. So it's very wonderful to be back in Canaan. I actually love this area. It's beautiful. It's a winter wonderland. So no, I really don't. I think it was a great meeting and I look forward to the opportunity to keep on making some great changes here. And that's it. My door is always open.
Is that so you can run?
I'll be sleeping here tonight.
I'll make a motion that we, buy our.
Thank you.
this contract. Do we have a dollar amount on that yet?
Yeah, pick that up.
And
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Do we have to state the amount though, so Roger hears it for the motion?
10,000.
Yeah, then it's
Okay,
10,000.
we were just all still chatting, so I wanted to make sure I heard the motion, so I'll vote yes for that too.
You have anything else?
No.
How about an update on water?
Did you get any stuff for him today? Because we were supposed to be getting our counts today. I talked to John earlier and I know we are. He told me he need about another week to 10 days to finish the installs. I'm still waiting on the read so we can do the final, the third quarter billing. But I expect, he told me I'd have them this morning, but you know, we're running
The same
behind.
thing, that they would be there today.
And my assumption is we're gonna go out and grab them tomorrow and take them from them somehow.
Did you get a hold of Avatar as far as the numbers and?
Avatar is just wait, we have to call them and we have to wait. When we have our numbers now, basically Donna and Carolyn are gonna sit and they're just gonna go through it on a per account basis and clean that up. So we're now, once we have the numbers, we can finish this and hopefully have a really clean setup that will work going on. We're dragging a little bit right now.
Anything else from anyone? Have a motion to go into non-public,
So moved.
Second?
all in favor? All right. Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year.